Alrighty folks, welcome in. Hello, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Voodoo Val and I am going to be your host again for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and I'm so pumped. Hello Robert, hello Rick, hello Sean and Tatiana and Carol Pearl, Mercurial, Christine, General Kenobi, hello there. Matt Phillips, Ferry, Sam Peterson, the one and only, Nourish, hello. It's good to see all of you folks this morning. Tracy, Lisa, Kim, Christiane, is that how I say that? I hope I didn't butcher that name, but it's very lovely. Welcome in everyone to the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. If you are unfamiliar with what we are about to start working on today, basically I am going to host for this week, for next week, and then replays for 2 weeks after that. I'm going to be doing a 30-minute challenge every morning based in Photoshop to show you how to do some nifty things within the program. You folks can all get involved with me by going to the landing page, which I'm going to pull up in just a moment and show you all the ways that you can basically become involved, download all of the resources and things that you are going to need in order to participate, and so on. Quick reminder, however, before we jump into that, if you are over on the YouTube channel right now and you're wondering who the heck I am greeting, who all these people are that I'm talking to because you're not seeing them in the chat, that is because I am reading the chat over on behance.net/live. So please come over to Behance. That is where not only am I reading the chat, but where all of our mods are going to be posting useful links, resources, just helpful things to help you and aid you in your creative journey, but not over on the YouTube channel. So Sam Peterson should be over there on YouTube. If you see him post a link that says, you know, come over to Behance or something like that, click that link because that is going to lead you to where I can see you, and I want to see you. I want to read your messages and tell you good morning or good evening or good afternoon. Time appropriate salutations. Hello Subin. Hello Kelly. It's good to see you. Steve Festus Casavoon, the man with the name, welcome in. It is good to see you as well. Brampton, awesome. Cheryl, hello Val, love your hair. My hair is getting so long. This is ridiculous, because you guys remember when my hair was very, very short. So it's been throughout the pandemic, things have happened. Wade, it's good to see you. All right, let's jump into the landing page. I want to show you guys how to get this going and kick off our challenge for today. So if you jump over to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, you will see this page. You'll know you're in the right place if you see the April 26th to May 21st. If you don't see that, when you go to this page, it means that a new challenge has already began, but you can access this challenge if you come down here and scroll through the dates at the very bottom and find the proper challenges. You will still be able to click links to the videos, get links to the resources and all that good stuff. So far, we have had 3 challenges unlocked. Every morning, a challenge is unlocked at the beginning of the day. We've done shapes and gradients, we've done perspective transform, and today we have a request from the community. This is adding a glow effect. Create a magical glowing effect using brushes, warp, and motion blur. So somebody in the Discord commented in the challenge suggestions and wanted to know how to make it look as if a door was opening and magical light was spilling out of that door into the darkness or into the room. So we are going to do exactly that, and I'm pretty pumped about it. So let me jump over to the Discord because I'm going to run through that real quick and show you folks what that is all about. There's a lot of stuff in here, but the main points that I want to touch on are you can come to the Creative Challenge channel here, where every morning that there is a challenge going on, which is going to be every weekday, somebody will post in here and let you know what challenge is happening and where you can go to get involved and download all of your resource files. So you can go to the landing page or you can come to this channel right here. It says, you know, today we're working on challenge number 3 of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with me. You can tackle today's challenge during the live stream at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It gives you a link to the stream. It also tells you what the challenge is. It gives you the description. It tells you where you can download the starter file right here. And then it tells you can register for the challenge if you come in here, and it shows the little unlocked challenge for the glow effect, which is pretty cool. You can come in here to challenge, and you can see everyone has already started posting all of their challenges, and these look amazing. everybody is like added their own flair and their own stuff to all of this. Satlin even went as far as not to use a box, but to duplicate the hallways. So there's 2 hallways in this image now, and he's added a table with looks like flamingos in vases, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm so impressed. We got tons and tons of really cool submissions for today, but we're gonna jump into lastly the, I believe, let me find this. There should be a challenge suggestions channel. Please jump into the challenge suggestions channel and add in any ideas or requests for future challenges that you may have, because I look at these and I love to be able to create challenges based on what you folks are looking for. So without further ado, let's jump into challenge number 3. This is the starter file for challenge 3. This is what you will see if you click that get started button below the challenge title on the landing page. This is what you will get if you click that starter file link in the Discord, and it's what we're going to be using for today's challenge. Again, it says create a magical glowing effect using brushes, warp, and motion blur, and we are going to do that by jumping in to this image that I have selected for you, which all you have to do in order to download these images, folks, on Unsplash, the images are free. On Adobe Stock, the images are also free. I haven't included any Adobe Stock images that are not free. All you have to do is copy that image, download the button. A little say thanks thing comes up on Unsplash when you download a photo that says give a shout out to Matthew T. Rader on social media, or copy the text below to attribute. And it's kind of a really nice thing to be able to do, because we are going to be using an asset that is free for us to use, this image right here. However, it's kind of nice to give somebody a shout out and let them know that we appreciate their work. So if you are so inclined, please share the link to that wonderful artist. So what we're going to do is make light spilling out of this room into, or out of this doorway into the room. And the way that we are going to do this is by utilizing these starburst things. And I have added them here. I've got 2 of them in this folder for you so that you can experiment with these if you want. But I'm also going to show you how to make them and why they're important, what we're actually using them for. So the first thing I'm going to do is whenever I go about creating some sort of glow or solving a problem like this, I always sit and kind of observe my image and make sure it's the right image to be using and figure out how I'm going to go about solving the problem. So in order to make this look as if magical light is spilling out of it, we have to do something about the scene that is showing through the door here. And I suppose you could add like a transparent light to this, but I think I'm gonna go like full magical, like, you know, rays of light pouring out of the room. And so you're not really gonna see a lot of this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit F on my keyboard to enter the second Photoshop view so that I can really look at this. And I am going to grab my polygonal lasso tool. So if you don't see your polygonal lasso tool, it's because it's underneath the lasso tool. So I'm right clicking that and hitting polygonal lasso tool, or you can hit L on your keyboard to select if you do use the lasso tool often. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in here and I'm just gonna click, boom, click. So if you've never used this lasso tool, you're probably wondering what the heck it is. Well, it's actually really handy. It is a lasso tool that you have to click around because it only works in like perfect straight lines, which is really, really useful. So I'm just clicking around here and I'm selecting everything that is in this door. Now what I'm gonna do next is Control-Shift-N to create a new layer, or Command-Shift-N if you were using a Mac. Do I want to make, yeah, we'll use that, but I'm also, I was thinking I might duplicate what's in this door, but I think I'll just use a new layer, and I'm gonna paint bucket, to be perfectly honest. So I'm gonna go paint bucket tool, by pressing G on your keyboard, or if you have the gradient tool selected, you'll have to right click and switch it. And then I'm gonna grab like kind of a bright color for light. And that's all right. Maybe we'll do something more like that. So we've got like this doorway kind of created, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, it kind of already looks as if this light is kind of working for it already. It's just a flat color in there, but adding, like, seeing this door in the darkness and then having like no discerning, you know, features of a scene on the other side of the doorway is kind of interesting already. Okay, so we have this, and now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna actually double click this to open, double click that layer where that inside of the door is, and double clicking the layer, if you're not double clicking the image and you're not double clicking the title of the layer, it will open the layer styles panel. And what I'm gonna do is throw an outer glow on this. And the reason why I'm gonna do that, let me select a color, select this color. The reason why I'm gonna do this is because I wanna give it like this interesting haze on the outside of it. Let me see if I can bump that up. Let's see if we can size that out. Yeah, there we go. I wanna give it like a haze to kind of make it look a little more ethereal. So I'm gonna pull that out and we're gonna do this. I don't really think I want that noise on there. Okay, we can make this a little larger like so. And then I'm gonna play with blending modes on it just to kind of, let's see what we got here. That's not bad. That's like kind of a glow around the edges. It's subtle, but that's kind of interesting, to be honest. That's vivid light. It's a little washed out for my taste, to be perfectly honest. You may like it though. You may want to go that route, but I don't know if I want to go that route. Or we could try it. I don't know. I thought it was a little harsh, but I guess it's not as harsh as some of the other ones. So maybe vivid light is not so bad. Let's try this. We'll do vivid light, and then what I'm gonna do is make a new layer. I'm gonna grab this, like, you know, circle brush here, and I do have that color selected, so I'm gonna like kind of make this arching around the door right here and kind of fade that out into the rest, and then we'll also place that on a vivid light and see what that looks like. That's bright. That's really bright. Let me do like, it's too bright. It's too bright. Let's come in here to the vivid light. Actually, let me cancel. Let's hide that and then go into the glow. And let's find one that is less intrusive, shall we? Let's do something more like, okay, screen. Screen is subtle. Screen is not really very saturated. But I think it might be screen. I think we might be going with screen. Let's do screen. Let's go to screen, and I'm gonna crank up the opacity. And maybe we will make this color lighter. That looks more, when I brighten the color, like almost to white, but not quite, that kind of gives it more of a pop. So let's use this. Let's use this. And if you want to be more saturated and a little wild with your colors, that is fine. Feel free. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this layer. I'll make a new one, Control Shift in or Command Shift in on a Mac. And I am going to sample this color. And I'm going to turn my brush down to a lower opacity. So you can come up here and you can scroll down with the opacity if you want, or what you can do is you can actually press your number keys. 1 through 0 actually increases or decreases it by variables of 10%. So if I press 4 on my keyboard, you can see it turn to 40%. If I press 9 on my keyboard, you can see it turn to 90%. I'm gonna turn it to like a 40%, and I'm just going to throw a glow right here. Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little more hazy, and then we're gonna play with that. So that's a little more, you know. that's like kind of light ray-ish. That's also screen. That's probably why it works so well. I'm also going to come back down because something I've noticed is that since I changed the color of the outer glow, I kind of want to change the color of the blocky color that I put in the door as well. So I'm going to select this layer and I'm going to Control U because that is going to open up this hue and saturation. And I'm just going to lighten it real quick, and I can add a little more saturation if I want to, but I think I kind of mainly just want to like pull it up and make it a little lighter, but not too light. That looks fine to me. Now, where do the starbursts come in? And I don't mean the candy. Okay, we are going to like also kind of create like, because that to me, that looks, I would maybe clean it up a little more, but that looks to me like light is like coming forward. However, some of you may be wanting to go to like a fantasy kind of light burst coming out of here. And so I wanted to cover that as well to kind of give you an idea of how I would approach this as well. So one of the things that I knew I wanted to do when I was thinking about how to create this challenge is I knew that I was going to want to try something mellow and then also something a lot less subtle. And I wanted to do like this kind of, this kind of thing where these rays are like, peeking out of the room, and then maybe there's like some particles drifting around like that. And the particles are not hard to do at all. You just, you can find yourself a texture, you can find yourself a brush. Kyle T. Webster has a lot of brushes that are available through Photoshop that I will actually be using today that are like kind of like interesting scatter brushes. But like, how do you do something like this that makes it look cool? Especially if you're not an illustrator and you're not going to be drawing things, or especially if you don't have like, bright, shines and lens flares to work with. Well, you can use the polygon tool. So I'm going to drag this polygon out, okay, holding shift to constrain everything. And what I'm going to do is scroll down here in my properties panel. I am going to increase the amount of sides this has. I cranked it up to like 24. And here you can round a shape, or you can come here, there's like a little polygon with a star in it. You can actually crank this down and it will pull it into a starburst, which is so helpful. So I don't have to make this, I don't have to noodle around with strange shapes that I don't want to noodle around with. I just have this burst of light, and what I can do is I can bring it up like this to kind of, start to make this burst, kind of thing going on. Maybe we do it like this. And what I can do is I can actually drag this down and say, well, I don't actually have to drag it down. I was going to put on a clipping mask, but what I can do is hold Control and click this icon so I get the shape of that door, select the shape of that door. And then I can come up here on the polygon. I'm going to grab the lasso tool and I'm going to add all of this to my selection. Oops, oops, oops. I don't want it to get too crazy. Hold on, I'm just gonna zoom out. Let me make sure, oh, I'm doing okay on time. Okay, I am going to grab my lasso tool again. Do I have caps locks on so I couldn't see what I'm doing? And I wanted to add, if I can, there we go. Oh, I was hitting Control, not Shift. Shift is to add. So that was my problem. So let me click here, and then I'm going to hold Shift, and I am going to grab these because I'm going to make a mask, and I don't want to ruin the burst that's coming forward from the room or the hallway or whatever it is in your story that you're telling in your image. But I do want to mask that stuff away. So what I'm gonna do is, now that I have this selected, I will hit my mask button and it will mask away all of that. And then I can come into the actual layer here, not with the layer mask selected, but here is I can jump over to the filters, and I can explore the filters. So I could do like a Gaussian blur. We can convert this to Smart Object, that will work. And then I can kind of start blurring these rays if I want. They're a little bit uniform for my taste, like I will admit that. I don't have time to like go in and make every single one of these rays different, but you guys can see how I can like create like this bursting effect. So you could do it this way. You could also do like a motion blur if you wanted. So we go to blur and do a motion blur. That actually doesn't change it too much. Let me see if we like change the angle. Maybe that's actually kind of cool. So it's like kind of moves it forward, but it doesn't actually like I still have kind of a radial thing. It's just like the ones in whatever direction I'm using are actually like in focus a little bit more. That's not so bad. That's kind of an interesting look, I think. And it does actually kind of pull that over. So I'm gonna bump this over here. There we go. It kind of brings that little bit of, there we go. I can noodle with that another time. That's kind of a fun thing to do, to experiment with. And then another thing you can do is I'm gonna select B on my keyboard, do Control-Shift-In or Command-Shift-In to create another layer. And I'm going to come down here because I believe I have Magic Effects tool presets. So I have like dots, or I can come into like the Keith Haring brushes or something. These, you know, a lot of these are available through Photoshop. These are, some of these are brush packs that they had on the Adobe page. Some of them are from Kyle T. Webster. And I just wanted to find like this kind of brush that's just like a bunch of dots, just to kind of come in and start to, I'm just clicking and dragging with my mouse to kind of start adding a little bit of like particles floating in the air almost, just to like give it some type of atmospheric flair, if that makes sense. And I don't want to do too much. Another thing that you could do is like, so I have this one layer that has all of these dots on it that are sharp. I could also Control-Shift-In or Command-Shift-In, create a new layer. I could make my brush bigger. I could add some bigger particles, okay? And then I could put a motion blur on this, or a Gaussian blur on this to make it look as if some of them are in motion and moving, and some of them are like slower and sharper, which would be kind of cool. So let's see, I don't want the distance to be that crazy. I don't even know if I want that many of them. But that could be interesting. I also wonder what it would be like if we just put it on a straight up Gaussian blur. So let's do blur, Gaussian blur, and crank that down a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like it being like much softer. Under filters, there's a stylize with several diffuse options. Yes. So I would say definitely check out, all of the other filters. I don't have the time to go through every single filter and every possibility here. And obviously, as is the case with many of the challenges, if I were like sitting down to put some hardcore time into this would be something that I spent more time like perfecting and making look cleaner and a little nicer. But what I wanted to do is give you folks the tools and the ideas that you could use to start doing something like this on your own. So the way to kind of like get that glow and that light coming from the door, the way to create that light burst, the way to sort of add particles and stuff like to the atmosphere of the room, and how to start using blur tools and things to give it a little more pizzazz. I would love to see what you folks come up with. Please post your challenge entries in the Discord. I am out of time for today, but that was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this challenge, and I will see you folks tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time for yet again another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. So much love all, happy designing, and I will see you folks later.
This slider is guaranteed to blow your